Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, you see, words have meaning, and I use the dictionary. I know. I use the dictionary sometimes to define, or at least help me define certain terms in order to understand what these guys are talking about. Because some people might use certain words, and I'm like, are you sure that's the exact word for what you are trying to describe? And then look over the dictionary and no. So you use the wrong word trying to lump certain things together for a political goal. In this case, we have that weasel president of France, Emmanuel Macron, who talks about the French nation. And I checked the dictionary to see what exactly a nation is. Because I don't think right now France is a nation. Doesn't meet the definition of a nation. It misses one part, right? One important part. I will show you the definition, and if you want to look on your own, go ahead, obviously. So what's going on here? I have 2 points with Macron's idiotic statement, and I will tell you why it's idiotic. So it says here that French President Emmanuel Macron visits Israel. I don't hear Xi Jinping or, I don't know, Putin visiting Israel, or, I don't know, the president of Zimbabwe, or, I don't know, someone else. It's just a few countries that go over there. Says, nations linked through mourning. Now, he's he talks in the name of his nation. He doesn't know if his nation really is linked or not with Israel's nations in mourning, but he just says it. So let's say the nation. What nation? French is, I would challenge Macron that actually the French nation is no more the French nation. It's something else. And that's the first one. And then I'm going to go with this thing, mourning. All right? Right here. I'm going to take on that one. So let's get the first one. Nation, nation. And the first thing is what? A large body of people united by, and the first one is what? Common descent. So French, what are you talking about? In 3 generations, you will have no descent. Who are you? What are you? What are you? Look at the demographics I'm talking, all right? And remember, France is not United States or Australia or Canada, formed by the keyword settlers, okay, and with immigrants and so on. No. France is not like that. Culture. What culture? Which exactly will be the culture? Because some people have different descent and they will have their own culture. It's not going to get a French culture. That changes. Look at Belgium, look at Denmark, look at Sweden, look at the Netherlands. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Culture. Language, well, I don't know if French will still be the language of France in about 2 generations. I don't think so. Inhabiting a particular country or territory. So the problem is you don't have this one, common descent, so you don't qualify as a nation, I'm talking. All right, because you can't tell me that I'm a human being, but I miss a head. Or I don't know, I have 7 arms or something. And I'm a human being. No. And then linked through mourning. Yes, it's true that you as an individual can have feelings, but you can't ascribe a feeling for a group. Say, yeah, that group feels that way. You have no right to imply that. Some people in France, as you saw, support someone else. It doesn't mean that they hate the other side. The problem is that's how it's portrayed, unfortunately. Now I would ask this weasel here who's smirking, smiling, whatever. He came to pay respect and okay. Where was his nation's mourning for the Russian-speaking population in Ukraine that was attacked by the government in Kiev for about 8 years? Do you or does he happen to know how many were killed by the military, by the Ukrainian military tanks? Civilians, not the guys who oppose the military. Do you know? And if not, can you ask yourself, why don't you know that? You know how many died here? In Israel right now, unfortunately, in Pakistan, I was about to say Palestine, but in Gaza. You know the exact number to 1 or 2, no, 1,341. And tomorrow is going to be 1,537. You know, by the 7. You know how many Russians died in East Ukraine in 8 years? Civilians. And again, if not, why not? Well, that's not fair. And that tells you some seem to be more interested in some civilians who think they have value, which they have, and the other ones, I don't care. So I didn't hear the French nation crying for those civilians. Did you? I didn't. So you see, when I hear and I see this kind of thing, I say, yes, that's great, that's beautiful, but it's insincere. You're an unfair person because you didn't cry for the other ones. So that tells me that if I am a civilian, let's say from North Korea, I don't have the same value as a civilian from France. Why is that? And I gave you this so I don't give you, Palestinians and Israelis, or Russians and Israelis. So I didn't want to put that way for obvious reasons. So again, this is insincere for me. That's why I feel like vomiting on these guys. And they just a second. All right, I just did this for you, my friends, and obviously this is Wikipedia. War in Donbass 2014-2022. They claim it was a Russo-Ukrainian war. No, it was not a Russo-Ukrainian war. It was this. When those guys took control of the government in Kiev through a bloody coup, bloody because people were killed, okay? It was not a revolution. Okay, legitimate government, democratic elected government of Ukraine was toppled with the help of democratic forces from outside, right? When those took control, the guys in Donbass said, no, we're not going to recognize you. Oh, you're not going to recognize me? Send some tanks. So that's how we turn it into Donbass war is a phase of the Russo-Ukrainian war in the Donbass region, Ukraine. That the war began in April 2014 when armed Russian-backed separatists seized government buildings and the Ukrainian military launched an operation against them. So, you see, they start with the middle of it. Not even. Right here. When armed forces seized government buildings and the Russian-backed separatists, Ukrainian military launched an operation against them. They don't talk anything about the coup before this. So they start in April. That's when they started. Okay, they don't start it before that. So I'm supposed to say yes, okay, and I'm going to go to the right here. Remember, Kiev attacked Donbass, not Donbass attacked Kiev. All right. So when you're going to see here victims, civilians, casualties, and losses. Okay, we have here 3,404 civilian kills in 2016-21. Okay, and it says here 14,200 to 14,400 killed. All right. Did you know that? Have you heard about that? How many people died, civilians in Israel right now? Which is bad. Why don't you hear about anything about that one? 50,000 to 54,000 wounded overall. 1.6 million Ukrainians internally displaced. Over 1 million fled abroad as March. From what part? They don't tell you, okay? So anyway, just look at these numbers. Why don't you know about it? Or if you know, good for you. So again, when I hear the nations linked by mourning, I don't hear the French nation being more linked with Russian nation through mourning. Did you hear anything? Or with Ukrainians by mourning? I didn't hear that. So much love. Why is that? Well, you know why. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.